you're ever in need of a quick refuge, there's an ancient tunnel north of here that machines tend to avoid. I scouted it many times trying to find a way further in, but the way is blocked. Whatever the tin had in there, they kept it locked away.
Thanks for letting me know. Ancient
Keep your
tunnel,
eyes
huh?
open out there, soldier.
Might be a good idea to take a look around if I'm in the area.
You can make yourself stand out with that.
And dirt. Don't forget all that dirt we had to bring in.
If we're going to go around trying to protect life.
So that's where the rebels chose to take a stand. Aloy, well met. We've been briefed on our mission, and are ready whenever you wish to head to Cauldron Gemini.
Were you able to finish the new arm Gaia was helping you with?
Indeed. I was hoping we could discuss it, if you have a moment.
You wanted to talk about your arm?
Indeed. It's time to test it. And I want you to be there.
Okay. How are we doing this?
Not how. Where? Will you meet me where we felled Regala's tremor tusk? Right where the river bends?
Sure, if you want, but I'm not sure I understand.
You'll see when we get there. I promise.
Then I'll let you know when I get close.
You have my thanks, Aloy.
I have to go now.
Then do not let me keep you.
Like I said, I'll call you when I'm close to Regala's old outpost near the bulwark.
May the Ten guide your way.
Champion, over here. I've got something to tell you.
Everyone,
This is all right, it's nice.
Demonstrate. Call us.
Honor to greet you. I missed you. You're brave to show your face. Have you pulled something? Walk with strength. Yeah. You really think ordaining more marshals can make a difference?
May your name be honored and greetings, General.
Our ways, Outlander. Picked it up right as the machine lunged.
Pretty sure this is where Kotalo wanted us to test his new arm. Not sure what he has in mind, though. Hey, Kotalo. I'm by the Tremor Tusk site, where we agreed to meet. Want to test that new arm of yours?
I'll be there shortly. Thank you for waiting.
Maybe now you can tell me what we're doing here?
Not just yet. Follow me, please.
For the fallen marshal!
Someone's being awfully mysterious.
You took your sweet time telling me what you wanted to do to the bulwark.
Diyar can make use of this.
Consider this my revenge.
Fair enough.
This is it.
What am I looking at?
Oh, you'll see. Come.
All right, talk to me, Kotalo.
I wish to test the arm on that. It has menaced the valley for some time. Killed more than a few of the Sky Clan. But no longer.
I'm honored to help.
After you. Let's see how this thing likes the taste of metal.
Fire won't help here. Well, I think it's safe to say the new arm works fine.
Agreed.
Then why are you taking it off?
This is what I am now. What I overcame. Anything else feels... wrong. Like a disguise. I'll use the new arm when I need it, but the rest of the time, I will simply be myself.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
You have my thanks for doing this with me. Here. Something to mark our victory.
Thank you. I'll see you later then.
The Ten be with you, Aloy.
The old ones created so many wonderful inventions to help others. To help the planet. Technology really can be an amazing thing.
Yeah, until it gets a mind of its own and decides to kill everyone.
You're just a ray of sunshine, aren't you?
Only for you.
Welcome back.
Good to be back. Have you met our new Quen guest yet?
I could barely keep up as she gave herself a tour of the base. Varl gave her a new focus. Though when he told her she was free to access all the data we had here, she turned so pale I thought she'd faint on the spot. We showed her to the archive room so she could see for herself. She hasn't left the place since.
Sounds like Alva. Read anything interesting lately?
I found out the old ones use leaf infusions like the Utaru do. Tea, they call it. Apparently it helped soothe them. That and some sort of scented wax they used to cleanse their aura. Plus something called bubble baths. I think I'll stick to singing to calm the nerves.
You've been getting to know Erend, I assume?
Of course. Any friend of Varl's is a friend of mine. In this case, a very loud friend.
You and Varl doing okay? Training, I mean.
We're doing fine. Although I admit it'd be nice to take a small break from studying, just the two of us. But then who'd look after Erend?
There's always Kotallo.
Leave a loud Oseram with a brooding Tenakth. What could go wrong?
What's everyone been up to?
I've been trying to share some of my meals with Beta. Thought it might help her feel more at home. Maybe even get her to sleep up here instead of in that dark basement. She would not be moved.
I appreciate you trying.
Patience reaps the best harvest. I'm not giving up hope yet.
How are things with everyone?
Slightly quieter. Aaron's been busy scouring data on his newest obsession. Apparently the old ones wrestled machines as some kind of performance. Called it metal versus meat. A must-see battle between steel and flesh, as Aaron likes to put it. You'd think we have enough of that going around as it is.
I need to get going.
Right. You've retrieved the Omega clearance. That means we'll be going after Hephaestus soon. I'll make sure my gear's ready.
From the look on your face, I'd say the mission was a success.
I got Omega clearance. Is everyone ready to head out to Cauldron Gemini?
As soon as you give the word.
Did Alva make it here all right?
Our new Quen friend. The moment she laid eyes on the archives, she jumped on them like a long leg.
Sounds about right. Now that I have Omega clearance, we can grab Hephaestus and finally have the advantage over the Zeniths.
Can't wait to see their faces as they stare down a bunch of charging Thunderjaws.
Better them than us, for once. This mission isn't gonna be easy. Hope you haven't been slacking off on your training.
And risk Zoe coming after me? I value my life. At least you found the Omega clearance. That should help.
Wish that was the only thing I found. I knew finding Thebes would lead me to Ted Faro, but I never imagined he'd end up like he did.
How bad was it?
Bad.
He destroyed the world and crawled into a hole after killing those who saved it. If you ask me, he deserved whatever he got.
That he did. Once Gaia is back up and running, I expect you to put all your training to good use.
The seeds have been planted. All they need is a chance to bloom. What? I thought that was pretty good. Zoe liked it.
I'm glad you and Zoe found each other.
Don't forget, you're to blame for that.
I should go get this to Gaia.
Of course. Let us know when we're needed.
There she is. I hear you found Thebes. How was it?
Maniacs, lava, what's not to like?
I'll remember that next time I go traveling.
At least I got what we needed to trap Hephaestus.
Good thing I got my gear ready then.
You look tired.
Ha! You never want to hold back, are you? I've just been making sure that I got everything down for this mission of yours. I wouldn't want to be the usual screw-up out there.
You'll do fine, Erend. You've been looking at any interesting data?
I asked Gaia to find me something to look at a while back, and she found the mother of all forges. They called it sports. Turns out the old ones spent a lot of time tackling and punching each other for points in one game or another. Are you mixing some solid food and fresh ale? I bet half the claim will be lining up to watch.
How are things with Katalo? You still scared of him?
Oh, she thinks she's funny. Actually, I played strike with him. I had to fill in most of the conversation myself, but I'm still alive.
Glad to hear it. Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new focus quick, that's for sure. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
I should get going.
As soon as you want us heading out to those cauldrons.
I'll give you the heads up. Aloy.
There are more supplies in the chest. Help yourself.
I've never seen so much data in one place.
Why don't you check the cache? Maybe you left it there when you dropped off all that ale.
Oh. Hope it didn't get stale.
Aloy!
Right to work, I see.
There's just so much. I mean, we knew of artificial beings that served the ancestors, but Gaia? Oh, she's amazing! And you, a true reincarnation of an ancestor. Genetically speaking, of course, not like the, late CO. And there's more ancestors out there, returned from beyond the stars. Of course, they're trying to kill us, which is not great. And Eric Visser is with them, which is disturbing. And then there's Hephaestus, and...
Okay. How about we take it one step at a time?
You're right. I also owe you an explanation for everything that happened at Landfall.
You mentioned Eric Visser? How do you know about him?
The Zenith who tried to kill you? He is known to the Quen as the Protector. Combing through data related to his work led us to breakthroughs related to weapons and military tactics. Knowledge our rulers used to conquer and expand, to become the empire we are today. That's why he's one of our most revered ancestors. But based on your encounter with him, it appears he's even more ruthless than we ever imagined. Yet another distorted interpretation in the legacy.
Well, at least you're piecing together the truth.
If only the overseers back home would do the same.
Beta mentioned other Zeniths. Tilda, Verbena, and Gerard.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about them. Whatever legacy they left behind, the Diviners haven't recovered.
I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how Diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the Overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A Diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person at all. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
Yeah, we are. I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've all been extremely welcoming. And they share the knowledge they learn on their focuses with each other freely. It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the permission from the overseers.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
Anything new around here?
Kotallo showed me the schematics for his new arm. I recall reading about robotic limbs within the Legacy, but I never thought I'd see one in action. Technology like that would be treasured back home. Think of what it could do for injured workers or soldiers. But knowing the Imperial family, they would use it for different purposes. Their own.
Replacing body parts as they grow older. Like the Zeniths.
Exactly.
I need to get going, but if you need anything...
All I need is to help you succeed in your mission. The plan Gaia told me about, to capture Hephaestus, it will help set things right.
I hope so.
Then I will do whatever I can. I promise.
The old ones fed off livestock a little too much for my liking.
Some of them ate more like the Utaru. Called themselves vegetarians.
From what I'm reading, all the old ones wanted to eat.
I'm no chaplain, but that is... Are we to head out on our mission?
Not yet. We have more to talk about. How are your studies going?
I wanted to learn more about the world of the Old Ones.
And?
I looked up this pharaoh Gaia said you went looking for, and learned about the plague of machines he unleashed. To think that the ancient world was wiped out by... a mistake. A single miscalculation. There is no glory or honor in such a fate. Only hubris. And pointless death.
That about sums it up. Have you spoken with Alva?
The Quen is peculiar. Nothing like a Tenakth. Her mind is sharp, that much is certain. But it's hard to imagine her surviving in the wilds.
Trust me, she's tougher than she looks.
I will take your word for it.
What did Chief Ikaro say when you told him he'd be joining me here?
You spilt rebel blood at the Grove, and helped reunite the clans. There was little more to be said. He understood.
Well, I'm honored he lent me his best marshal. At least for a little while.
Indeed.
When we were at the Bulwark, the guard said something about the Wings of the Ten. Hikaru also mentioned it at the Cool Route. Dekka, too. What does it mean?
The visions tell us that the Ten flew on great metal machines with wings, and leapt into battle from the sky. For us, to imitate this feat is the ultimate expression of martial prowess, and it is why the challengers leap into the arena during the Cool Route. Many times I imagined it as a child. The feeling of freedom, and the awe it must have inspired.
You said the Bulwark was your home a long time ago. That you were part of the Sky Clan.
Yes.
That's all you're gonna tell me?
Fine. As you wish. My parents were killed in a clan skirmish, so I was raised by my squad. As I grew older, I came to be known as an accomplished fighter. Tekote took a special interest in me. I fought by his side against the Karja, and led my squad on a dangerous climb into the Daunt. It was I who opened the gates at Barren Light from the east side, allowing the Tenakth to raise it.
That must have gotten you some attention.
Indeed. I was welcomed home as a hero, and I was content.
Then why'd you leave?
I became a marshal.
Why did you leave the Sky Clan to become a marshal?
I was sent to the Kulrut by Tekote. Back then, I would have obeyed his every order. I believed in him, like one would a father. I was too blind to see the fear in his eyes. Fear of a rising young warrior challenging his command of the clan. I returned a hero from the battle at Barren Light. But to him, I was only a threat. Never occurred to him that I had no interest in rising above my station.
Why did Tekote think you wouldn't be a threat to him if he sent you to the Kulrut?
Tekote knew that if I survived the Kulrut, I'd be forced to forsake the clan to serve the Tenakth as a whole. I'd never be allowed to challenge his command, even if I wanted to. After our victory at Barren Light, Tekote spoke to our people, said it would be selfish to rob Hikaru and the marshals of a warrior like myself. Even though he knew perfectly well I had no intention of ever leaving. It was exile, guised as an honor. One he knew I couldn't refuse. So I became a marshal, and never looked back.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I am not. Though it pained me at the time, a marshal is what I was destined to be.
I bet people are curious about that new arm of yours.
None more than our Quen ally, I assure you. She couldn't wait to take it apart and figure out how it works. I gave her the data I used to build the thing, hoping that would satisfy her curiosity instead.
Good luck with that. I need to go.
Of course.
There used to be a rainforest so big the old ones called it the lungs of the planet?
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. They
Welcome back. Aloy, I know your experience in Thebes was unsettling, but we have a new problem.
Did something go wrong with Beta and the rig? Will we be able to transport you to Gemini?
The rig is complete. The problem is Hephaestus itself. It has accelerated its proliferation throughout the Cauldron network, increasing its power.
But with your sub-functions restored, we can still succeed, right?
Correct. But the net effect is that absorbing Hephaestus will take longer than previously calculated.
How long?
Even with Omega clearance, my current estimate is that the merge will take 35 hours.
And each hour increases the risk of detection by the Zeniths. Two cores. Two overrides. What if the merge were carried out by two clones of Elizabeth Sobek, both armed with Omega clearance? How long then? Half the time?
Hephaestus would be unprepared for the simultaneous labor of two operators, in addition to obvious synergetic efficiencies. Calculating. It would reduce the merge time to approximately 4.5 hours.
Okay. Varl, it looks like we're gonna need Beta at Gemini. Do you think you can convince her?
I don't know, but I'll try.
What about our diversion? Are the pulse generators ready?
Only a final test remains. I am confident that if fired in proximity to other cauldrons, the pulses will mask our activities at Gemini from the zeniths.
Good. As long as Aaron can operate one without shooting himself in the face.
Aloy, you better get down here. Beta's in bad shape.
Okay.
All right, let's look at this mess of data then.
Aloy. I tried, but it's impossible. I don't think anything will convince her to go.
We don't have a choice.
Good luck.
Beta, you have to come with us. It's the only way. It's one mission. The most important one. We need you. Tell me why you won't go. What if they take me back? Alone, in a cell again. Their slave. Forever. The only way we can end the risk of that happening is by stopping the Zeniths for good. And in order to do that, we have to get Hephaestus. The Zeniths are a threat to everyone, Beta, not just you. So find your courage. That's easy for you to say. You still have no idea what they're capable of. I told you from the beginning, we'll never beat them. It's hopeless. Beta. Leave me alone! You don't understand! You're right. I don't understand. We have the same genes, the same mind, the same heart. So why can't you find the strength to do what has to be done? Like Elizabeth would. Don't you think I've thought about that? I don't know what piece of Elizabeth I'm missing. I don't know what you have that I don't. I look through all the data from your focus. You were raised as an outcast, shunned, and isolated just like me, so what's the difference? What's my defect? Beta, you don't have a defect. Beta, look, it's not a piece of Elizabeth. The difference is, I had him. Frost. He raised you, trained you, but he was never warm or loving. The day he died, the day he gave you that charm, he was going to abandon you. He wanted me to embrace the tribe. But then he gave his life for mine. He loved me in his own way. And that was enough. What did it feel like? It was like having the strength that was always there. It's still there. Even now I hear him in my head when things get bad. When it looks impossible, look deeper. And then fight like you can win. You don't have to go on the mission. We'll find another way. I'll go. You're right. I'll only be safe from them when we succeed. But you have to promise me one thing. Yes, of course. If it goes bad, if the Zeniths find us, I don't want to be their slave again. Do you understand? Okay. Promise? I promise. I could use as much time as you can give me to study up on the merge, to make it as efficient as possible. I'll be ready when you are. I swear.
Aloy, whenever you're ready, come speak to me and I'll ask the others to make final preparations for the mission.
Well, they didn't have two left feet like I do.
Teach you.
Don't tempt me.
By the forge, find an inn and leave me alone.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
Not at all. I was just studying the pulse generator schematics. The ones Gaia and Beta built. The craftsmanship is remarkable. Is everything all right? It sounded like there was an issue with Beta and the mission.
Not anymore. We just needed to talk some things through.
To understand one another is to embrace truth. Oh, and if you have a moment, there's something I could use your help with.
Must be strange to think that some of the ancestors your tribe reveres are still alive. And here on Earth, right now.
Yeah, it is. Part of me's curious to know who else besides Eric Visser might be among them. Maybe Nikita Arand? We call her the Spark. The legacy tells us she brought unlimited energy to the Old Ones. Or Sung Jiao, whom we call the Healer. It is said she found new ways to extend the ancestors' lifespans. But my curiosity fades when I think of how different our view of Visser was compared to the reality that you experienced. Perhaps it is better not to know.
Must be strange to think that some of the ancestors your tribe and here.
Yeah, it is. Maybe the legacy or some. It is said but our view of perhaps.
Any more data catch your eye?
All of it? I have so much to study up on. Years, actually. I'm particularly interested in the Odyssey. We knew the ancestors had made it to the moon. In fact, we theorized some of them had settled on it. But Sirius is way farther than that. And we thought journeying across the ocean would be the feat of a lifetime. The sheer calculations needed for space travel. It's overwhelming to think about.
Even so, the Quen are way ahead of other tribes when it comes to understanding this stuff. Where I grew up, everyone thought that stars were sparks that rose from a fire lit by the goddess to guide us through the night. Have you spoken with Zoe at all?
A little bit, but I did hear her singing with Varl not too long ago. I don't think they noticed. Zoe seemed so free when she did it. Like every emotion she had was taking flight in song. And she looked happier because of it. I felt so dull and nervous in comparison.
You should ask Zoe to teach you sometime. About Utaru music.
Maybe.
If you need anything before heading out to the cauldrons.
You have nothing to worry about. Gaia's explained your plan in detail, as expected from such an efficient AI. I've even received some very, succinct combat advice from Kotalo. You know, in case the Zeniths show up.
What kind of advice?
He, told me to run.
For now. We'll even the odds soon enough. You mentioned the reason you came here was to help your family. Your sister...
Her name is Alika. Our parents are commoners. Peasants, really. When I passed the divination exams, they were so proud. It brought honor to our family and increased rations. Only Alika begged me not to leave for the research academy.
Why? What happens there?
Alika knew that once you enter, you're not allowed to leave or see anyone. Not even your family. Unless you can get special permission and an escort by an overseer.
It sounds harsh.
Like the focuses we keep, diviners are few in number, and the Empire is, well, fearful that outsiders will try to steal our knowledge. Last time I was allowed to see my family was just before our voyage here. Because of my position, I was able to get them refuge from the floods within the capital. But if our crops don't recover soon, they'll starve to death along with everyone else.
I promise I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't come to that. The ancestors, is that what your people call the Old Ones?
Yes and no. The ancestors are the greatest of the Old Ones. Those whose legacy taught us agriculture, medicine, warfare, leadership, and patronage of the science and arts.
The CEO called Elizabeth Sobek an assistant. What's that about?
Right. Well, any old one who has made minor contributions or worked extensively under one of the ancestors is called an assistant. That's how we thought of Sobek, until we met you. Our limited access to data past the late 2040s has obviously misinformed our view of the past.
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in Thebes. I'm listening.
Right. I'll start at the beginning with the CEO. He was an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew, in fact. As such, he sponsored many diviners to search the legacy for anything that might help the tribe, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to Ted Pharaoh, whom we consider the greatest of the ancestors.
Ted Pharaoh, revered ancestor. That's tough to take.
I know better now, of course. Anyway, the diviners discovered that Pharaoh spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. In fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing problems. If only we could find the right data in this fabled city. Perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that threatened our people. The Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured into this endeavor. Dozens of ships were built, scouting missions were dispatched, and the Emperor's nephew was named CEO, one who wields the legacy for the good of the Empire. The living embodiment of Ted Pharaoh, the renewer. It may seem strange now, but for a time, he carried all of our hopes. We really believed he would save us. We had no idea just how perilous the journey would be.
You said the expedition across the sea was more dangerous than you thought it would be. What happened?
We lost most of our ships to hurricanes, and scores of soldiers perished to hunger and disease. And that was before we even hit the coast. Once we landed, machines ripped our patrols apart, and we struggled to replenish our rations. There were bright spots, to be sure. We found Thebes and the greenhouse. But nothing improved the CEO's mood as his dreams of saving the tribe were slowly dashed. He became more and more obsessed with Thebes and what lay behind its door. And more convinced that the title of CEO was no mere honorific. You heard him, spouting nonsense about Pharaoh's essence and some kind of becoming. We knew these weren't the words of a sane man, but he was quick to put any who spoke out in front of a firing squad.
What a great guy.
The Quen are wrong about many things when it comes to the legacy. I can see that now. But what the CEO became was a complete perversion of what principled diviners stand for. The pursuit of truth. I'm sorry you had to endure his madness. I'm just glad it's over. For everyone.
So, Bohai, your overseer. Will he run things better than CEO?
He won't execute people on a whim, if that's what you mean. But he's hardly a paragon of integrity. I can't tell you how many times he took credit for data in the legacy that I uncovered. The best thing I can say about him is that he can be trusted to always do what's best for him.
Yep, sounds about right. Back at the greenhouse, you spoke of knowledge forbidden to your people.
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy, and many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use, thus gaining favor with the Emperor. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to the stability of the Empire, like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why diviners are only allowed to access segments of the legacy. Only overseers can view it all. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved before it can spread.
What happens to diviners who break the rules?
I never had the courage to ask.
You mentioned there was something you needed help with?
Yes. So, as I was sifting through data from the greenhouse, I found references to an old world system back in the Great Delta. It's called Leviathan. My people discovered it decades ago. A sprawling network of river gates and a labyrinth of underground tunnels. The legacy revealed that the old ones used it to control flooding. But we've never gotten it to work. The whole thing is shut down. But the data from the greenhouse mentions the research facility where Leviathan was created. It's in San Francisco.
Another Pharaoh facility?
No. Leviathan was a project by Eileen Sasaki, another ancestor. So the legacy tells us, anyway, if we can acquire that data, we might be able to fix the system back in the Great Delta. Every year, my sister gets terrified when the long rains begin. With Leviathan, maybe she won't have to be.
Okay. So, where in San Francisco is this facility?
That's the thing. The data doesn't say where, exactly. But one of our diviners has been exploring the ruins. He might know. Would you come with me? I have a feeling that wherever this facility is, well, you're much better at fighting machines than I am.
Of course. I'll let you know when I'm in landfall.
Thank you, Aloy.
I should go. Make sure you talk to Gaia if you have any questions about the pulse generators.
May your path lead to truth.
And, like I said, I'll let you know when I'm in landfall. We'll find the data you're after.
I appreciate it.
We just need to find the right strategy. Forget it. The man is unbeatable at machine struck.
His people invented the game. What did you expect?
Kotallo can't win everything.